All right. I'd like to start off by saying Barakatay Hawa, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is We're Witnessing the Giving Heed to Seducing Spirits Doctrine in these times. Now, we've been witnessing it going all the way back to the main school at One West, all the way onto the present. But as the scriptures say, evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse. Deceiving and being deceived. And we know that both the deceiver and they that are deceived are of the Most High. They both belong to the Lord. So the Lord is the one stirring up this controversy. Now, it's crazy how you're witnessing all of these different Israelite groups that either stem directly from One West or from a group that was formerly a part of the West, or however you want to put that. And, they're waxing worse and worse. The doctrine is being attacked by all angles from these wacky-tacky Christians that, have been getting their ass handed to them all these years spiritually by the Israelites. Now they're trying to band together to try to, make one last hurrah attempt to take the truth down. But, we know that would happen. We know that the doctrine will be spoken against. This is why the Apostle Paul, said that we are defenders of the gospel, and he always maintained to continue in the things that we have learned and have been assured of, knowing of whom we have learned them. And you see these groups that are faltering big time. Some have completely fallen. Some are teeter-tottering. Some are, halfway in, halfway out. And, everything else you could put to it. Now, I'm just briefly mention a couple at first, but then get to the more, more juicier topics. Of course, you already know the ICGJC, they totally gone, totally bugged out. A total Roman Catholic Church with a little spritzer of Hebrew Israelites in there, So they're completely gone, Y'all already know, y'all been knowing that and already know that. Next in line is the GOCC, which they're completely mad and out of their mind. Teaching some goddamn mermaids and all kind of other bugged out shit. That's another second in line to ICGJC. And they have, Christian religion doctrine, which is same as Roman Catholic, with two spritzers of, of Hebrew Israelites sprinkled in there. Then you have some of the major groups, such as, or the first one was a major group, second one was a part of the major group, which is GOCC, and they just fell away. But then you have, the ISUPK, which they teach a lot of the same things that we taught in the past. They still go into the Hebrew, so big ups to them on that. But they're off in the sense of they're teaching that John the Baptist went off, that he fell out the truth, and they haven't repented from that. I'm pretty sure they teach that Cornelius is an Israelite. I'm pretty sure of that, but I'm not 100% sure, but I believe they do teach it. So that's a good thing. They teach that you can have sex on the Sabbath, and I'm sure there's other things that they teach that I can't think of right now. But the point is that they're going off into and giving heed to these seducing spirits. Next in line is the IUIC, which the IUIC is totally bugged out too, because they also teach you to have sex on the Sabbath. they teach that the MOTB is sin in all its forms, or however they put it, which they keep changing it. It went for many different things over the years. All right, so they're off on that. Now they're teaching the everlasting hell, and I had did a video where I highlighted when Bishop Nathaniel recently said that the lake of fire in Revelation is when America gets hit with the nuclear missiles, and he's absolutely correct on that. But I said I'm not sure if he, outside of that, teaches that there's other scriptures or other precepts that pertain to a eternal hell, a place where you burn forever. I know Apostle Tar just did a video on that, so I don't know if he just totally reversed himself, or if he teaches that the lake of fire is America being destroyed by the nuclear missiles, which it is, and then other precepts or other scriptures are dealing with the actual hell, a place where you burn forever. So that they're totally off on that. They're totally off on it. You can have sex on the Sabbath part, and the MOTB, of course. Oh, and that's another thing that IACPK teaches, that the MOTB is an embargo. So moving on, to the next group is the Sakari. Now the Sakari, them individuals, they do teach that the MOTB is a micro C-hip, which is good. They do teach, Israel. The Lord only came to save Israel, which is good. But they also teach that you can have sex on the Sabbath, And or another thing, they don't accept the book of Mark. I don't care what Mark said. Deacon Hakah said that, because he's saying that the book of Mark is not, is not canon. And I don't know if they totally dismiss all of the writings of Paul, because he recently did a video where he said, I got 82 scriptures. I'm just merely paraphrasing. I got 82 scriptures, which gives me 82 shots to disprove, that the writings of Paul are authentic. I'm just merely paraphrasing. I'm adding words to his mouth, but he knows what he said, roughly around there. So these are the very things that we witness in the scriptures that would happen. Remember, Yahushua said, beware of false prophets. And the Apostle Paul, the Apostle Peter, they also said that there would be false prophets, and those false prophets, would rise up from among you. They would be teachers with you. They would be partakers with you, breaking bread with you, holding feast days together, saluting with you, holding the foot down out there on the highways and byways. And then eventually they would turn from that. Salakia. So we're witnessing that on a high level. You have the book of Jude, the book of 2 Peter, the 2nd chapter. You have the book of 1 Timothy 4, 1 down. You have the book of 2 Timothy 4 and 1 down. You have the book of Acts 20 and 28, and many other scriptures out there that warn us that these things would happen. So we're witnessing that. Now, like I said, we that have been in it longer, the apostles, from the apostles on down, and you brothers came into the truth at the beginning of the YouTube era, as we call it. You brothers have been witnessing it for more than a decade. Some of you going on 16, 17 years or something like that. Some brothers 15, some 12, and so on and so forth. You've witnessed your own examples of individuals that were in your camp, speaking right next to you, bringing out precepts, so on and so forth. And then they just totally, completely turned away from the truth and gave over to them seducing spirits. you know. So these are things that the Lord said would happen, you know. And it's like some groups are just waxing worse and worse. Or another thing, the Sakari group teaches that, you know, that we're not to worship Yahushai. And the scriptures speak about us worshiping Yahushai. You know, we're not saying that Yahushai is the Most High, because he's not. We understand that. But that man, you know, that special spirit, Son of the Most High, deserves his just due, deserves his reverence, deserves his worship. You know, this is why there's no other name under heaven that when we pray to the Father hears us. You know, only through the name of Yahushai, you know, is, you know, our petitions being heard. So that's a special spirit. That's not someone to be taken lightly, you know. That's someone that should be reverenced and honored highly. Good morning. You know, it should be reverenced very highly, you know. So, you know, I mean, I know that there's a lot more other things that these individuals teach, because remember, the scriptures say a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. Then it also says that they shall wax worse and worse, you know. So as we're getting closer and closer to the end, you know, these guys are waxing worse and worse. You would think the closer we get, the more in tune brothers would get, because the scriptures do say that at the very end or so around there, you know, pretty much in the kingdom, you know, that we will all be speaking the same thing, you know, not in this time here. And that's another thing that these emotional people, you know, fail to realize, because they're basing their emotions on what they were taught when they were brought up, you know, and they're saying that we should all come together as one. You know, why are we so divided? Why there's so many different camps? Why there's so many different things going on? Obviously, you don't know the scriptures. You haven't read the scriptures. But if you did read the scriptures, that veil is still over your eyes, you know, and you're not able to see what's truly going on. Because Yahushua said it out of his own mouth. When you go back and you read the Gospels, you know, he said that he would bring divisions, you know. And then Simeon, the old man, when he came to see Yahushua, because the Most High Yahushua, through the Holy Spirit, the Rakak Wadash, promised him that he would see the consolation of Israel before he passed on. And he was an old man already. And he saw it. He saw Yahushua, and he told his parents that this child shall be set up for the rise and fall of many in Israel, and for a stumbling block. You know, so these individuals are basing their knowledge of the scriptures on emotions and not on the actual factual, you know, blueprint that has been laid down for us. You know, you can't, you know, go into the scriptures with an emotional mind state, because right there you're already lost. You know, you're not going to be able to navigate through the spiritual things of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai based off of emotions. Now, will emotions be there? Of course. But, you know, you have to learn how to navigate around them, you know. And that, in part, with these jakes out here, these comment board warriors, is due to some of these groups that pretty much curse out Great Millstone for getting on them and correcting them. You know? And this is why, you know, they put Yahushua on the cross. Because he was going contrary to what they were going, you know? And they thought that they were doing the Lord's work, when in fact, they were doing Satan's work. That's why Yahushua called them a bunch of devils. You have your father the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth. When he speaketh the lie, he speaketh his own, because he is a liar and the father of it. You know? So there was not going to be any getting together of all Israel. It is impossible to gather the nation of Israel together as one in these times, or we for our people, when the Lord said he has an election. There's certain of them that have been tapped into to receive it, but the majority are not going to receive it. The majority of them are going to be blinded. So how can you, build, all the Israelites to believe in the same thing when the Lord blinded the greater portion of them? And these jakes, they never consider that, because it's based off of emotions, not based upon facts of the scriptures. You can't get away from the contract. You can't get away from the blueprint that has already been set up. And like I said, if you have an election that's going to get it, and the rest were blinded, and Yahushua was set up as a stumbling block, that means the majority of Israelites are not going to get it, including teachers that are out there teaching the word. Because remember, those wicked Pharisees and Sadducees and them, they were all doctors of the law. They were all teaching. Who do you think that the people will come to the temples, on the Sabbath day, to learn from? To go to them different house of scrolls out there, which were the ancient colleges. What do you think they were doing in those colleges? They weren't playing, Monopoly or none of that. They were learning the law. They were learning the customs. They were learning the traditions as they were taught. So they were teaching, but they were going astray because they were blinded. So not every Israelite is going to get this, And we're witnessing today, that most of these individuals out here are getting seduced by these seducing spirits. And that's why they're changing up the doctrine. And it's to the point where some of these doctrines in Israel, outside of Great Millstone, and those that teach what we teach, are starting to become unrecognizable. Now, in the book of Revelation 16, it speaks about to keep your garments, In James, it says to be unspotted from the world. Then in, I'm not sure if that's Nahum or Zephaniah, one of them smaller books in the Old Testament, it speaks about, the children being, clothed in strange apparel. Those are those aprons that Adam and Eve sewed upon them. So those teachings are not being recognized by the Most High. I don't know how many of you brothers seen Centurion, but in that movie Centurion, towards the end, when they finally made it out of that forest and were on their way back, they had to dress like the barbarians. And the reason why they did that was to blend in. So by the time they made it to the Roman fort, the one individual out, on his horse, got, either on his horse or he was running, was getting to the gates, and the Romans saw him dressed like a barbarian. And they sent arrows his way and killed his ass, because they didn't recognize him, because he didn't have on the Roman garbs. He had on barbarian garbs. So they looked at him as a barbarian. So that's how the Most High looks at these individuals out here that are clothed with those strange apparels. He's looking at them as pretty much as heathens. These jakes that are into Roman Catholicism, Jehovah's Witness Christianity, the Lord looks at them as heathens. Bottom line, He don't look at them as Israelites. They don't merit the name Israel. The Lord said that He planted Jake holy, right deed. How art thou become unto me as the vine of a strange vine or something like that. So Jake became strange to the Lord. And different philosophies are clothing. And when you leave your natural clothing, which is the truth, and you go and you start dabbling in that other madness, then what happens is you become strange to the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So a lot of these groups, although some of the things they teach are on point, the Lord don't recognize them because that leaven has infested, the good teachings. It's like if you have a very good batch of wine, and it's like the best batch of wine you ever made, but then somehow mildew gets in a little bit of it. Guess what? It ruins the whole batch of wine. And you'll be upset because that was a damn good batch of wine that got destroyed because there was somebody didn't do their due diligence, to make sure that the thing was airtight and that foreign substances didn't get in there to destroy that batch. So that's what this truth is. It's a very special batch of wine that a lot of individuals are allowing to get muddled, to get that mildew in there, that yeast that's destroying the very goodness that it was intended to be, and we're witnessing that. Like I said, we've been witnessing it, Apostle Tar since the 80s, Apostle Gabar, Apostle Rakah since 1990, I myself and some of the bishops since 93, 94, so on and so forth, and so on. But you brothers that have just, came in during the time of the YouTube era, you're witnessing your own examples of these things, So, so that's pretty much it. I just wanted to make mention of that real quick, because it was on my spirit. I was listening to the Elder Karatazar from the Vegas camp, and the latest video he did, I think he did it either last night or this morning sometime. I think it was last night. I forgot the name of it. So many videos brothers do. It's hard to keep up, but it just gave me, he was dealing with the Christians, dealing with that dude Michael Ezra with the long hair, which Apostle Tar did a video on that also, and it just got the wheels turning, to speak about this issue that is becoming a real serious issue. But it's not a detrimental issue to us because we knew it was coming. We've been teaching about it, speaking about it. So it should come as no surprise to us, because we knew it was coming, because we've been witnessing it for years. It's like a thing of Satan hacking away a little at a time. This brother Barazov here from the Indianapolis camp, I guess brothers have put him onto this movie called Starry Eyes. We watched that movie, and pretty much it was about this woman that wanted to be an actress, and she was going to auditions, getting turned down, and eventually, they had, they seen that she had certain potential, right? So they had her come in for a second audition, and they made her strip her clothes off. So they were probing into her, see what she was willing to do to make it. So then eventually she went to the dude's mansion, the producer's mansion, and in the producer's mansion, he started filling up her dress, and once he touched the jewels, she jumped up and ran out of there. But what they were doing was probing her. But then eventually she went back, and this time he didn't approach her, she approached him. And they told her to prove it. She pulled her zipper down, started, doing, I mean, they didn't show it, but they show you the idea of what she was doing. But the point is, it was a little bit at a time, and that's how they get you. That's how them demons work. They throw a little here, and then they'll fall back, see what you're going to do, throw a little there, then fall back. And before you know it, you're pickled in that shit. And that's what's happening with some of these groups, former One Westers, and those that stem off the former One Westers. Their doctrine is becoming strange, and we're witnessing that. So like I said, I wanted to say a few words on it. I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. Till the next time I say, Shalom.